Hello everybody, it's me, Scoop, and welcome to Saturday Summary, the show where I break down the biggest news in tech and media from this past week. Today's episode, we will be talking about Godzilla vs. Kong, and in general, HBO Max. Now, if you don't know, obviously, we are in a freaking pandemic, so a lot of people have been subscribing to streaming services like HBO Max. We've seen it with Disney+, we now have Peacock, which is basically just Office, the streaming service, and, of course, HBO Max. So, how has HBO Max been doing with subscribers? Well, as you can see from the title here, HBO Max hit subscriber goal 2 years ahead of schedule, thanks in part to the release of Wonder Woman 84, claimed parent company AT&T. Basically, what you need to know is that obviously, when a company like AT&T creates a streaming service like HBO Max, they will have a streaming number goal, or a number of subscribers that they want by a certain period of time. Basically what this means is AT&T set a goal for HBO Max to have a certain amount of subscribers by some point, and they have now reached that point 2 years ahead of when they plan to. They currently are sitting at 60 million subscribers and 40 million within the US, and honestly, that's pretty freaking good for them, so you did it. Now, obviously, this is in part to the fact that, we're in a pandemic, so a lot of people tend to be watching TV, and on top of that, it's the winter outside, so you don't want to go out there, do ya? You want to sit in here and watch your Wonder Womans and your The Offices. So that's, big factor in why they hit it so early. However, something else that's very important to note is that not all of these subscribers are what are considered active subscribers. Basically what that means is they pay for the service, but they're not really watching it. They kind of just own it because they have so many streaming services that they can't really keep track of what's on where. And obviously for a service like HBO Max, that comes off of something like HBO, the original channel that was included with a lot of cable packages. Those subscribers mostly transitioned to HBO Max, but not all of them really paid attention to it, so they're not like true subscribers. In fact, only about 17.2 million subscribers are considered activated, AT&T's term for someone who has downloaded the app and either signed up independently or upgraded an existing subscription. So, like I said, they're technically paying for the service, but they're either not really using it or didn't intentionally go out of their way to get it. So, what does this have to do with Godzilla vs. Kong? Well, Godzilla vs. Kong is the first massive blockbuster we have coming out since basically the start of the pandemic, and people are freaking hyped for it, dude. Like, I'm hyped for it, and I think it looks really stupid. Although I will say, Godzilla King of the Monsters was, surprisingly good. I knew, obviously, the effects were going to be really good, but they did a really good job of balancing the monsters beating the crap out of each other and the humans beating the crap out of each other. There was, equal crap. So that's good. You want equal crap in your movie. So you're probably thinking to yourself, what about Wonder Woman 1984 that came out last month? Doesn't that count as a big dumb blockbuster? Well, yes, technically it does count as a big blockbuster. The only issues were that the movie was incredibly boring, and most of the fight scenes were absolute garbage, so nobody really cares about this movie. Yes, that was harsh, but are you really going to tell me that I'm wrong about that? Have you watched this movie or have any of your friends watched this movie and gone, nice, dude, that was a good movie. I was hyped during that movie. No, it was boring and it was stupid. It made no sense. But it wasn't even so bad that it's good that you're watching it and you're laughing at it. You're kind of just watching it excuse me, you're going to touch them through their TV using the particles in the freaking air? What is this? So yeah, it was basically just garbage. And so here we have an article from Screen Rant, who I usually do not rely on because I have fact-checked them on multiple articles by just literally knowing more than their writers about something, usually with Futurama. But we're going to use this anyway because they're saying something that I agree with, so that's news. So, was Wonder Woman 1984 a box office failure, even with COVID-19? By typical industry standards, the box office numbers for Wonder Woman 1984 aren't very spectacular or even exceptional. In a normal year, the numbers would be considered abysmal. So, yeah, Wonder Woman does not feel so good at the moment. I mean, I watched it. A few of my friends watched it. Most of them didn't really bother, or they don't have HBO Max yet. So, yeah. Although what I would say is very interesting is I think Warner Brothers and, HBO Max are the ones who got the pandemic release correct, And by that I mean Disney obviously had their absolute flop that was Mulan, which you had to buy your monthly subscription to Disney Plus and then pay an additional $30 on top of that to actually own the movie, which nobody was really up for, especially considering everybody knew Mulan was going to be just a god-awful piece of garbage, which it, turned out to be. Then we got the complete reverse of that with the release of Soul on Disney Plus, which was actually completely free, and I'm pretty sure is now just going to sit on there, which I'm very happy about because I'd like as many people as possible to see the movie. But at the same time, it didn't really get the hype that it deserved, because that was definitely my number one movie of last year. So Soul was definitely my favorite movie of last year by an absolute mile, and for whatever reason, not that many people have been talking about it. Kind of released, and then for a few days, everybody was like, "Oh yeah, it's really good," blah, 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 and then that's it. So I talk about it all the time with my friends. I try to keep that hype train up, but So anyway, HBO has really struck the perfect middle ground, in my opinion, where obviously I want as many people as possible to see Soul, but Pixar also needs to, make money off of it so they can make another Soul. Or another movie, as good as Soul, is what I'm really trying to say. So what HBO Max did with Wonder Woman was they released it on HBO Max completely for free, obviously as long as you own HBO Max, and then a month later it was taken off, and it's still in theaters if, there's one open near you, and you ain't afraid of no COVIDs. So now that brings us to Godzilla vs. Kong, which is looking to do the exact same strategy, which I think is definitely the right way to go. And we have the trailer, and like I said, people are hyped. The numbers do not lie. This thing reached number 1 on trending within a couple of hours. So, good for HBO. The only thing I find incredibly funny about this trailer is that every single person realized the plot in about 2 seconds, including myself, because if you watch this at a quarter speed like every normal person watches trailers, you will see something very funny in this opening shot here. And then we pan down, we see people running. What is this in the corner? Well, that looks like Mecha Godzilla, now doesn't it? It definitely has big red lights on it, which Godzilla does not, but it looks all big and scaly like Godzilla. So, ergo, it is most likely Mecha Godzilla. So essentially the plot of the movie looks to be that Godzilla is attacking people, no one knows why, so they need King Kong to fight him off. Even though that is literally the reverse of Godzilla King of the Monsters, where all of the other monsters were just attacking people randomly, so Godzilla had to go fight them all off and make sure that they don't destroy the freaking planet. So yeah, it seems kind of weird for our giant lizard friend to just instantly pull a 180 for basically no reason, and then ship in Kong to fight him. So what every single person thinks is going to happen is that Monarch, the company that was in Kong Skull Island, is actually the ones who built Mecha Godzilla, this boy right here, which just looks like normal Godzilla. So Godzilla will return at the end of the movie, and he and Kong will fight Mecha Godzilla together, which doesn't sound too bad. It sounds really stupid, but it doesn't sound that stupid. So do I think this will be more of a Kong Skull Island or more of a Godzilla King of the Monsters? Meaning, one is kind of just a big dumb movie about a big thing, and the other is actually a really big dumb movie with a lot of big dumb things, but it's actually very entertaining. Well, if you look at this moment right here, I think we're definitely in store for a big, big, big dumb movie with a lot of really big dumb things that's really fun to watch. I think I've had my fill of saying big and dumb. Just listen to this music. Oh, look at that epic sucker punch, bro. Oh, this year, dude. Look at King Kong push Godzilla off the thing. Oh my god, they're gonna blow Godzilla up. Oh, big explosion. Oh, look at that epic. And if you don't believe me, here is a Cinema Blend article that basically says the exact same thing. The Godzilla vs. Kong's trailer has me thinking the answer is hiding in plain sight. It may finally be time for the world to meet Mecha Godzilla. Before we get too deep into analysis, feel free to rewatch the first look at director Adam Wingard's Titanic Showdown, as it's included below. So yeah, here's the trailer that we were just looking at. Obviously, it's the exact same one. And right here, he talks about exactly what I said. What's with the glowing red lights? Why is Godzilla acting completely out of character? Who is this random guy in the trailer that's working on a bunch of machine things? The whole thing with Monarch, cover-ups and all that. So, yeah, I think you guys get the point. Basically, I just think it's really funny that, people are just so insanely hyped for this movie, when we all know it's just going to be a big dumb monster showdown that really doesn't make any sense, and, the tagline, "One will fall," is obviously not going to happen, because it's the fourth MonsterVerse, whatever they're calling this movie. So they can't kill off either of their two main, monsters in the first movie. We need Godzilla and Kong versus, whatever, coming 2023. So, yeah, a lot of the physics in this trailer don't really seem to be there, like Godzilla kind of just casually climbing up on this aircraft carrier, and then, standing on it with King Kong, who then sucker punches him in the face. Obviously, you see the ship, rock a little bit, but you'd imagine it would rock a lot. Some other things, the sizes don't really seem to match up. Like, here, Godzilla doesn't really seem that crazy big, especially when you put him next to King Kong, who looks to be almost the exact same size, versus in the last movie, when you have Godzilla fighting Ghidorah, and they look like they're the size of a city. Yeah, the Arctic fight scene. We get, like, this really big wide shot, and you can see how, like, gigantic they are. And then you get Godzilla and Kong both standing on top of an aircraft carrier together. Because, of course you can do that. Like, dude, look how big they are. Like, that's a close-up. Look at that. That is not gonna stand casually on an aircraft carrier. Look at how gigantic these things are. It ain't gonna happen, Captain. So, yeah, that's basically my point. I think they're doing a very good job with how they're actually monetizing and releasing their movies, which is obviously very good for their streaming numbers, as we saw. And I just think, Godzilla vs. Kong, gonna be a big, dumb, fun movie to enjoy, maybe even in big screen VR with the boys, if, you and the boys all have the Quest 2, which you should definitely get, by the way. Anyway, guys, that'll do it for this week's Saturday summary, and I hope you all have a great week.